So back at Young Championships, I have Zita Denholm. Zita has just finished competing, has just had some lunch, and I caught up with her at the canteen. And someone mentioned that she was the oldest rider here, and we dared ask her how old she was. And Zita, how old are you?
I'll be 85 next month.
Absolutely amazing. How was your test?
I'm pretty pleased with them, actually. Thank you very much.
Oh, well done. And what are you riding?
I'm riding a part-bred Connemara mare, a youngster, well, not a youngster, I'm sorry, called Ashley's Jazz. I didn't breed her myself. We do breed Connemaras. I didn't breed her myself. I bought her from an ad in that magazine that we're not supposed to,
Okay.
the commercial
That one, yes.
Yeah, that one. And she was up in central Queensland, and I called in a couple of favours and got friends to go and inspect her for me.
Fantastic.
And
Hey presto.
Hey presto.
How exciting. So I was talking to you a little bit earlier, and we had to stop and get onto this interview. It was so interesting. You were saying that you were born in Queensland and that your father said you had to do three things, you had to swim, ride, and play a musical instrument.
That's right.
And you do all three still?
Yes.
Oh, wow, how fantastic. I knew you played the violin and the piano, and I know that you ride because I've seen that.
Yes.
And you still swim?
Yes.
Oh, amazing. So you're also saying that you were instrumental in starting the pony club movement in Queensland at the age of 17.
I hate to say instrumental. The answer is I started it.
Isn't that amazing? Tell us a quick bit about that.
Because of the large family, and we did have a place just outside Brisbane, a small, 22 acres sort of thing, and a lot of the local children who had parents who were friends, like Rachel Mansfield, who's now Rachel Hunter, as you probably
Yes.
Rachel Mansfield, Elizabeth Johnson, who's now Elizabeth Anderson, lives
Yes.
in the United States, and all of these people.
Oh, yeah, Libby Anderson. Oh, yes.
Yeah. I saw her fall off her first pony. And they were all local children. And so we used to gather on Sunday afternoons at Lee Vale, which was the family paddock, and we read all of the books about the British Horse Society and the Pony Club, and we said, let's have a pony club. So Gail Webster, who's up in became very big deal in driving. She lives up in the Brisbane Valley still. Her father was the director of agriculture. Libby Johnson's father was director of health. They were the kids whose parents could afford them to have a pony.
Yep.
Not excessive. We didn't own a horse float amongst us. And this was because our parents thought that ponies were for riding. And Dad and Mum, I know, and the men, none of them were worried. Dad's theory was that cowards were frightened of horses, so that his daughters were safe so long as they were on their ponies.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so how did it actually start? You were saying that you got together with some very important people at the age of 17?
Yes, so I was 17 and the others were youngsters. The others were much younger persons. If you think about their ages now, you'll realise they're in their 70s and not in their 80s. And we called a meeting. I encouraged Dr. Webster and Sir Alan Mansfield to call the meeting, and we formed the Pony Club. And the Youngs at Bundaberg, which was a similar situation, they had a lot of children too, all girls. They had 11 daughters and one son down at the end. And Charles Young had the same idea. And so the Barolin Pony Club was about the same age as Lee Vale.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then we sort of got together in Brisbane Show and, so on.
So your riding career, what's some of the highlights of your competitive riding career?
I was not a very good... I didn't have the figure to win a champion lady rider. No, truly.
But you look pretty good now.
Yeah, but I didn't have the figure to be a champion lady rider. I didn't have the money to put into the turnout hack bit. But I had something that the rest of them didn't have. A really good resting heart rate and a lot of determination. Yeah. So I went endurance riding when I
Oh,
was
wow.
a young married woman. I held the Australian record for a little while until somebody else realised that if you treated your horses properly and trained them properly and fed yourself properly and fed the horses properly, you could do this sensibly. So
did you do a quilty?
no, I didn't do a quilty. I was a young married woman by that stage, and I've encouraged a couple of other people over the years to do the quilty and help them. But and I've got a niece in Toowoomba who has done more than one quilty.
So tell me, when we're talking dressage, back in the day,
Yes.
it was a non-existent thing, and now here you are competing it, and you've seen it grow.
No, I competed in dressage. I just wasn't very good at it. I just wasn't very good at it. Oh, no. I think, actually, if you really want to know what I think eventing is the thing.
Yeah.
And
Your father would be proud of hearing that.
and and Franz Moringa, whom I
Yes.
knew quite well, Franz used to say, horses don't tell lies.
Yeah.
You've probably heard it anyway.
Yeah.
If the horse trusts you and you trust the horse, you ask the horse and the horse will do it. You can't fake eventing. You can't fake anything much with a horse. Sorry.
Not when it comes to horses.
Let's edit that a little bit. No, you really can't. Horses, you can't fake horsemanship.
No.
Really. So, no, I've always thought dressage was a good thing.
Yeah.
Dressage was a much better
So
thing.
how often are you riding now? How many days a week?
Oh, 5, 6.
Wow.
I'm lucky.
I wish you lucky. It's just amazing. Congratulations. It's just so good. And you really enjoyed the competition?
Well, it took me a while to screw myself up to this. Not today. I competed for the first time about 18 months ago, I suppose, at the Connemara show in Wagga, in a preparatory test. And then I thought, yeah, okay. So then Wagga has got, dressage competitions, as you realise, and
Yep.
the REA dressage. So I sort of got brave and I did a couple of preparatory tests there. And then I thought, this is bloody ridiculous. One of the things that did go wrong in this long gap was that I was worried about cantering. And the little mare that I bought had a very stiff, sticky sort of canter, and I thought, no, I'm too old for this. I'm not fit enough to cope with. I'm not fit enough to cope with this. But I got her fit, and I got me fit. And once I learned to canter again, I thought, this is fun.
How fantastic. Isn't that great?
But it's an admission to say I started that riding course at Neggs at Armadale.
Right.
And I left, went to over in 1975, so the Neggs course started in 73, 74. And I did a little bit of competition in Armadale, not very much and not very terribly successfully, but with the school horses, right? Once I came to Wagga, I got onto the business of seeing that my kids got opportunity, and I've got 2 children.
So you've got 2 children, yep. Do they both ride?
Yes, and one of them, I live with one of them and her husband, and they're not here today because they're both working. And I got permission to travel by myself on the condition I had a friend to meet me when I got here. Yes, they both ride. So we've got 3 competition horses.
Fantastic.
And Aaron, with his competition horse, in fact does the light horse display for all of those things too. So he's, going to do Anzac Day next week, of course.
Great.
But anyway, I got onto the stage of it's an expensive hobby, and you really can't afford mum and 2 kids to be competing at state pony club level, and they both were. So I just had this very, very, very long break, And when we came to Wagga and I got involved back with, thanks to my manager, involved back with the Connemara Pony Society, which I'd always been interested in, and I became part owner of a Connemara, an imported Connemara stallion, let me say, who's going to compete tomorrow.
Right.
I just eased back into it, and that's
So for people, you're just such an inspiration. I mean, your life we could just do hours of chatting to you. It's so interesting from the beginning right through
yes,
now. But
exactly.
And it is inspirational. You mightn't think it is because you're just who you are, and you just do exude that feeling. But to people out there that are watching thinking, oh, maybe I'd like to have another crack at riding, what do you tell them?
Do it, but find a pony that you trust.
Yeah.
And don't do anything stupid, like don't ride when there's nobody around. Like, I was close to 80 when I started riding again. Right. So don't ride when there's nobody around. Jodhpurs or breeches that have got a pocket for your phone are a good thing. Just ring your next of kin and say, I'm getting on now. I'm getting off now.
Yeah.
And then there's no
Angst. Yeah.
Yeah. And don't do anything stupid.
So do you have lessons? You've been coached along the way?
Yeah, well, I have. Yes, I have. You heard what I said about my past, but indeed I do go to Tony Pearce. Myself and my daughter and my son-in-law sometimes, but myself and my daughter go to Tony Pearce in Wagga fairly regularly.
Oh, how fantastic!
And Tony has been most encouraging. Tony says, no, you don't look silly. Come on, let's do it. As far as I'm concerned. And so we did 2 preliminaries today. And she said, now,
And cantering.
Oh, and lots of canter. Well, see, you stick with the introductory, the preps until you can canter. But, yeah, now we can canter. I'm going to do novice at the next.
Oh, fantastic! Zita. I'm so excited for you. Look,
Stand out of the way for
I
the
know. Look out!
PSG.
Yeah, Zita Denholm's coming through. Oh, you're just fantastic! And look, congratulations! And I missed you riding, but I really look forward to seeing you next time. Absolutely for sure, next year, doing elementary.
And why not? Well, and there's not so many ponies in those.
No, exactly. Yeah, there's lots of ponies. They're becoming popular. Just trust you.
Yes,
Everyone wants a pony now. So, Zita, it's been an absolute pleasure. And from Equestrian Life and everyone out there watching, thank you and congratulations. And good luck with the rest of your riding for the year. And we look forward to seeing you next year. Thanks, Zita.
Roger.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roger.